Bole Baba Ki Jai. So in our last discourse, we heard about the story of Vishwamitra and the sacred cow, and also on our young prince, Sudarasana, getting the root mantra of Kama Devi. Now we'll go on with this story. Chapter 18. Vedavyasa said to King Janamejaya, the king's lovely daughter was very glad on hearing the words of the Brahmana and drowned herself in ecstasy of love. The Brahman also departed, thinking of the whole affair. The daughter was already attached to the prince, and now that she became the more merged in love for him and became very anxious. Now on the departure of the Brahman, she felt herself struck by the arrows of love. Then Sasakali, oppressed by love, addressed her dear companion who followed her inclinations thus, O my companion, I have not as yet had any knowledge of the king's son. Still, the signs of love have sprung up in my body and mind from the moment that I heard about him from the Brahman. The love is giving me such trouble. Tell me, companion, what am I to do now, and whither shall I go? Oh, dear companion, I saw him like a second god of love in my dreams, and since then my innocent mind is being troubled with his being away from me. O fair one, the sandal paste on my body appears to me like a poison. This garland is like a serpent, and the moon's rays become like a fire. O companion, my mind gets not rest anywhere, in palaces and gardens and lakes and hills at any time, during the day or night. All the enjoyable things have assumed now contrary aspects and are paining to me. The bedding beetle leaves, music, singing, and dancing all now fail to give me satisfaction and peace. O companion, I would have gone today where is residing that deceiver, but I fear for my father as well as for the honor of my father and my family. My father is not yet declaring the Swayamvara for my marriage. What shall I do? Had he given me in marriage to that Sudarasana, I would have allowed him to embrace me and satisfy his passions. Oh friend, look at the strange ideas of the Creator. There are hundreds of kings today who are influential, and I do not consider them beautiful. And that king's son is exiled from his kingdom, and yet he has stolen my heart away. Thus that king's son, Sudarasana, though helpless, and living in a forest on roots and fruits, deprived of wealth, power, and army, began to reign in the heart of that princess. Sasakali, too, began to recite slowly the root mantra of Saraswati, and therefore her love towards this prince held out signs of success. Once engaged in meditation on that excellent root mantra of Kama, and while repeatedly reciting it mentally, Sudarasana got in a dream the vision of the ever-full, the world mother Ambika that cannot be expressed in words, the Vaishnavi Sakti, and capable to bestow all wealth and prosperity. At the same time, the king of Nisadas came to the hermitage of the Muni and presented an excellent chariot together with all other necessary things to Sudarasana. This chariot was drawn by 4 horses decorated with nice flags and was endowed with the prospect of getting victory everywhere. Thinking it thus a befitting present to be given to the king, he gave it to Sudarasana. Sudarasana too accepted the offer of a friend and worshipped him well in return with roots and fruits of the forest. The Lord of Nisadas worshipped as a guest, then went away. The Munis and ascetics then began to address Sudarasana with fondness. O son of the king, don't be anxious and restless. Within a very short time, you will get your kingdom back, no doubt, by your own good luck and powers. O one attached to one's vows, the goddess that enchants the whole world, the giver of boons, Sri Ambika, has been pleased with you. Assistance will also be rendered to you. Therefore, do not trouble yourself with contrary thoughts anymore. The Munis who have taken vows address Manorama also, the queen. Your son will soon become the lord of the world. You need not care anymore. Then the lean and thin Manorama, hearing the Muni's words, said, O Brahmanas, let your words of benediction be justified with success. What wonder that a kingdom be obtained by the goodwill of the sadhus. There is no force, no minister, no help, no property. How, under what combination can then my son get kingship? You are the best of the knowers of the mantras. Due to the influence of your goodwill, my son will surely be a king. There is no doubt in this. Wherever that intelligent Sudarasana used to go on his chariot, there he seemed by his own prowess as if he were surrounded by a whole army consisting of thousands of foot soldiers, thousands of horses, chariots, and elephants. This is the influence of the seed mantra. It is not an ordinary acquisition. It is because Sudarasana, with gladness and one-pointedness of his mind, meditated on his seed mantra, that he acquired the above powers. There is no doubt in that. Becoming pure and peaceful, whoever gets this wonderful seed mantra from a true spiritual guide and meditates on it incessantly is destined certainly to attain all desires. There is no such thing either in the heavens above or in the world below that a man won't get when the Supreme Goddess becomes pleased. Those are certainly very unfortunate and of dull intellect who cannot place their faith on the worship of this goddess and consequently suffer incessantly all sorts of troubles. O best of the Kurus, at the beginning of the creation, this Amba Devi was the mother of all the gods and is therefore known as the first mother. She is practically seen in this world in the shape of Buddhi, intelligence, Kirtis, fame, Driti, fortitude, Lakshmi, goddess of wealth, Shakti, the force, Shraddha, faith, Mati, intellect, and Smriti, memory. It is only the deluded souls that do not realize the nature of the Devi. It is only those whose hearts are destroyed by the glare of false argument that do not worship this all-auspicious goddess of the universe. O King, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Indra, Varuna, Yama, Vayu, Agni, Karuva, Vishvakarma, Pushpa, Bhaga, the two Ashvins, all worship the supreme deity of the creation, preservation, and dissolution. Who is there amongst the wise that does not serve this highest energy? The real nature of that auspicious goddess, this bestower of all desires, Sudarasana came to know very well. She is the real essence, Brahma, very rarely realized. She is the higher Vidya and the lower Vidya of Vidya, and she is the vital energy, the Mukha Prana of the best of the yogis who are desirous of liberation. O King, what individual is there that is able to realize the nature of Paramatma, the highest universal self, without having recourse to her, who is manifesting this universal consciousness by bringing into existence these sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic creations. Sudarasana, though he dwelt in the forest, realized a greater happiness than that in obtaining the sovereignty of a kingdom by constantly meditating on that goddess. Sasakali, too, being too much oppressed with the arrow of love, anyhow remained with her soul in her body, having had to be always cared for her health in various ways by her attendants. Then the king Subahu, on coming to know that her daughter is desirous of giving her husband, made arrangements for her Swayamvara, a marriage in which the girl chooses her husband from among a number of suitors assembled together without any delay. Accordingly, the king employed many artisans, had platforms covered with beautiful carpets, and big halls decorated beautifully in various ways. Thus, the assembly hall for Swayamvara built and decorated, and all the necessary articles and equipments brought thither, the fair-souled Sasakali told her companions with sorrow, "Better go to my mother and say to her privately that I have already selected mentally my husband, the beautiful Sudarasana, the son of the king of King Dhruvasandi. In my mind, I won't marry any other prince than him. The goddess Bhagavati has settled him for my husband." Vedavyasa said, the companion of Sasakali, hearing thus, went quickly to her mother and addressed her sweetly in private. "O chaste one, your daughter, with a sorrowful heart, has sent me to you to say the following. Please hear and do at your earliest convenience what is good and beneficial. She said there is staying in the hermitage of Bharadvaja, the son of the king, Dhruvasandi. I have mentally selected him as my husband. I won't select any other prince." The queen, hearing her words, told this to her husband when he returned to the palace, all her daughter's words as she had heard them. Hearing this, the king Subahu was astonished and then laughed frequently and then began to say to his wife the following true words. "O fair one, that king's son, Sudarasana, is a minor. He has been exiled to the forest. Now he is helpless and is residing with his mother in a dense forest. For his sake, the king Virasena was slain in the battle by the king Yudhishthira. O fair-eyed one, how can that helpless, exiled poor boy become her husband? Do say, therefore, to Sasakali that in the assembly hall for her Swayamvara, many kings commanding honor and respect would be present. She would then choose whomever she likes. She need not repeat such words anymore." Thus ends the 18th chapter, the third book, about the Swayamvara of Sasakali, the daughter of the king, in the Mahapurana Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Vedavyasa. Jai Mahamaya ki Jai. Bole Baba ki Jai. Om Namah Shivaya.